Hey, what's going on? So in today's video, I'm going to be tearing up this carpet, showing you some tips if you've never done it and you're curious if it's hard. It's really not difficult. So just going to show you the tools that I use and some steps that I do to make it a little bit easier to do it. So as far as tools, really the main tool you need is a utility knife. I just have this little knife that I keep in my pocket all the time. You're going to want to make sure there's a new blade on it. And actually I was using this all day yesterday to cut the other rooms. So I'm going to flip this around, make sure that's new. The other tools you're going to need once you get the carpet up to get the tack strips out, just a hammer and a flat bar. And then I've got this amazing little tool. This is a staple puller. This thing, this is one of those tools that I bought a long time ago that I was like, oh, this would be cool. And I've used it so many times to get staples out of things and it just works great. This comes down to like point. So I can get right under that staple and pry it right up. Get one of these. It's made by Arrow. I'll put a link for all the tools that I'm using down in the video description as well. Then I've got a bucket with a dustpan and a little sweeper for sweeping up stuff. A broom to sweep around the edges, and then a big push broom to sweep the main floor. And then I'm also going to shop vac it at the very end. Another super important tool is knee pads. So I'm wearing Carhartt pants. They're double knee pants, and Carhartt makes a knee pad insert that actually goes in here. So I hate those knee pads that you strap around. They always hurt the back of my knee. They slide off. These things are just in there. They work great. So again, I'll link all the stuff down in the video description. All right, so it doesn't really matter where I start. You just got to pick a spot. I usually start at the door, just, I don't know why, but you just got to pry up an area. I'll use my little nail puller or the staple puller for that. And you can see here's the seam where the two carpets meet. So if the tape is old, you might just be able to pull that and it might rip up, but I'm just going to cut it with the knife very carefully. Don't want to cut yourself. And also watch out for the tack strips in the corner. There's these sharp little pointy things. Oh, I'm gonna grab my gloves. I'm also gonna be wearing gloves and a dust mask just because carpet's gross. I don't wanna breathe this stuff in. Hopefully you can still hear me pretty good. Now I wanna be super careful doing this because we're actually gonna be painting the floors. Well, I'm not, we're hiring somebody to do it. But, so I don't wanna be cutting the floors. So I'm gonna pull up on the carpet as I'm doing this to not damage the floors at all, the subfloor. And this can get tricky when you get to the other side. So just kind of come back really carefully. Always be super careful if you're pulling towards yourself. I don't recommend it. So if you can kind of do it like this when you get to the edge and then rip it, and then we're good to rip this out. Now this could be tricky to do where the door is because the door is obviously running under the carpet. So what I like to do is just rip this up from the tack strip. Basically like that, and cut around where the door goes. Boom, and there's my first piece out. And it's pretty easy to pull it off that tack strip. They're just little spikes, and once you get some pressure coming directly up, they basically just come right off those spikes. And I'm just gonna continue this cut into this corner here. So again, what I'm doing here is I'm just pulling it off the tack strip so I can get in enough to get my knife in there like that and pull that up. I'm gonna go right across this door frame to go I can get this piece out of the closet next. So what I did was I tried to cut on the outside so that once I get this out and I shut the door, this won't be underneath the door. So I won't be fighting the door trying to get that carpet out. All right, I'm just gonna run those 3 little squares down to the dump trailer, and then we'll keep ripping out more. All right, close this door. And I'm gonna come out to this corner here and just cut a straight line right across. All right, I'm gonna show you a cool trick that I learned recently off a video. So a lot of times when you roll this stuff up, let me get it started here. So you just roll it up. Now, if I take my hands off of this, it's gonna wanna unravel and roll back out. So I saw this video, this guy did this cool trick. You take your knife, make 2 slits, and then make a slit like that. Bring this through here. And now it won't unravel, and you have a little carrying handle. So in just a few minutes, we've got that whole side of the room done. I'm just gonna do the same thing here, cut it into a couple strips. I don't have to take this all out in one big piece. So I'm just gonna do probably 2 strips, or I could go this way and do it that way. It's also gonna be a little difficult with the heater. So what I usually do is I cut a line right in front of the heater, and then I pull that strip out after. Yeah, I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna do 3 strips this direction. Okay, there's that. Okay, so now I'm gonna lay this in here and roll it up. So that's another trick. Rather than trying to fight this thing on the end, you can do that. It also is less rolls when you do this. There you go. Okay, again, I'm just gonna fold that in. Get a nice tight bend. So now I've got all the carpet right here and it won't roll out and make a freaking mess. Next is the carpet padding. This is just stapled down, usually just around the edges. It's kind of a pain because it's stapled down, so it wants to rip. So sometimes if you're lucky, you can get it started and it'll just pull off the staples. But other times like that, it just wants to rip. And then usually once I get it up like that, you pull it like that. And then repeat the process on the other side. Now I just flip over a bunch of it and roll it up. This stuff doesn't want to unroll like carpet, so I don't do that whole slicey, flippy thing in this. So I'm just gonna lay these pieces on here and roll it all up as one piece. Okay. All right, so there is my pile of debris. I'm gonna go load this in the dump trailer and then we'll pull tack strips and staples. Next is these pesky staples, which is made really easy with this tool. Boom, done. Even the ones with the carpet, takes a little bit of extra effort to get it under there with the carpet, but they come right up. Just like that. So now I've got about 100 staples, 200 staples I gotta pull. All right, all the staples are up, so I just gotta pull the tack strips out. Hammer and flat bar, super simple. You can see here they use pieces of tack strip and then they use a roofing nail to hold it down. But most of them are these little tiny nails. They come out pretty easily. Just give them a couple taps with a flat bar and a little push and they come right up. And while I'm doing that, I normally find that I missed a few staples, so I just keep this in my back pocket as I'm going around. Sometimes those nails are stubborn, they rip right through the wood, they come out really easily. Now when you're handling these, you gotta be really careful because they have a million really sharp pointy nails coming out of one side and the nails holding it down to the floor coming out of the other side. So these are like little death traps. All right, here's a little tip. When I'm doing this, I put the flat bar so that it's going right at the nail. That way when I hammer, it comes right out. If I go in between the nails, so there's one nail there and there's one nail there. So if I put my flat bar in between the nails, it just rips the wood and doesn't pull the nails out. All right, so the last piece of this is just to clean up now. So I'm gonna grab all the tack strips, throw them in the trash can, any pieces, sweep, get all that swept up. I'm gonna do a quick visual to make sure I got all the staples, if not pull any more that are up, and then vacuum. And again, be careful handling these. They're really sharp, there's tons of nails sticking out, wear gloves. All right, so you're gonna wanna check the bottom of your shoes. I've got staples with that stuff stuck in the bottom of my shoe. So you gotta get those out of there so you're not scratching up other floors. Oh, just found a staple right there. And I'm gonna look over the floor now that it's all swept, just to check for other staples. All right, I'm gonna vacuum. I'm gonna start with the little brush. I'm gonna do the top of the baseboard because that's all covered in dust. And then I'm going to use this thing to get the crack underneath the baseboard. And then I'll probably go back to this just to do another final pass and then switch to that guy. If you got anything out of this video, give it a thumbs up down below. And if you're interested in more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.